Welcome back to the Daily Coach YouTube channel. I would like to talk a little bit about expectations with regard to getting down to a net earnings claim when you're doing your due diligence in order to say yes or no to an opportunity and help you understand why that is too high of an expectation of the process and actually a little bit dangerous. Dangerous? Why is it dangerous, Kim? Well, let's start there. So, the reason it's dangerous to try to validate a business so hard that you can control, everything all the way down to exactly what the net earnings are is because if you make a decision based on those specific numbers, if the numbers are anything less than that, you are going to be very unhappy. And since you are the biggest variable in the success of your business and in the creation of those numbers, it's not realistic that you can build that perfect pro forma because we don't know how you are going to perform. So yes, in a franchise, there are all these other franchisees out there that have numbers that they can share with us. And that's one of the greatest advantages of exploring a franchise compared to buying a private business for sale or going out and starting a business on your own. There just is no real way to validate the numbers. In a franchise, you can validate the numbers, but what we're trying to do when we validate other people's numbers is really understand in their context how they're doing and how satisfied they are with how they are doing. But keep in mind that their satisfaction is going to be based on their expectations. Do you get it? So I was an average performing consultant for 8 years here at FranChoice. And then I decided to get serious about my business and really focused on maximizing what I could control in my business. And I committed myself to a little plan, a daily sales plan, and I held myself accountable for 1 year. And 1 year later, I had built the largest franchise consulting business in the history of franchise consulting. So I was average performing, and then I was like breaking records. I know what I was doing then, and I know what I did. And I know what I've done since I figured it out. And so I was the biggest variable in my success. The world didn't change between this year and this year. Kim changed. So once I went through that experience, it changed how I coach other candidates to validate a business. Because we can use what other people are doing. And certainly if there are top performing people in a franchise, I want to know exactly like, how do you think about the business and what are you doing? Like, so Kim, what did you do then that, or what didn't you do then that you're doing now that gave you this dramatic difference in your result? I mean, yes, that's why I coach my candidates to go out and to interview the top performing people, especially if there are top performers who have replicated that performance again and again and again. So once I figured out how to drive a certain result in my business, and then I was able to replicate that, well, it's a science. It's a science that I can share with other consultants who want to know exactly what I do. But then they have to go build that plan for themselves and then hold themselves accountable. And they are the biggest determining factor in their success. So even if they have the Kim Daly plan, it doesn't mean that they're going to execute to that level. Do you get it? And so that's the dangerous part of setting out in validation to get down to a margin so you know with real clarity exactly what you can make in this business, because we don't know how you're going to perform. And so if you're buying the business for that much control from day one, I think you're going to set yourself up for a lot of heartache. And it's a very dangerous position for a franchisor to put you in and to put them in. Because if you are looking for that much control out of the gate and you get in and you figure out that you can't have that much control until you learn the things that give you control, and experience is really the only teacher in life, right? I mean, we can tell you, but you have to still set out and do it, right? Like I can tell you how to ride a bike, but until you get on the bike and feel what it feels like to balance a bike, you can't really know how to ride a bike. Do you get it? It's a tough conversation to have, but I think it's a really important conversation to have. And to kind of talk yourself down from needing real specific data. That the intention in validation is to validate average unit volume, sure, but who's doing this to be average, right? I want to know from the top performing people, what the heck are they doing, right? What makes them great over good? I want to know what's the difference between good and great in every franchise, but that's just average unit volume. And then to understand the basic expenses in the business so you can have a rough idea after, the basic expenses are paid, how much is left. But to ask an owner what they're netting, it's really a poor question because different owners are going to be different in how they operate their business and what expenses they may be flowing through their business. So I could be a top performing consultant and I could be 100% referred lead driven and therefore really have like no marketing expense. Somebody else could be running the exact same revenue as I'm running, but they could be paying to buy all of their leads. And so we could have the same top line revenue, but we could have very, very different net margins. There are so many factors that go into play. So you really can't ask an owner, what are you netting? You can ask what the expenses are against their revenue. But I think it's infinitely more important, what are you doing to drive that revenue? Because if I can understand, what do I have to wake up and do? So what did Kim Daly do in the year that she had that standout performance back in 2012? What did she do that year that she wasn't doing in 2011 or 2010 or 2009? That created the dramatic difference. And then ultimately you have to wake up and go do it. Like you are the biggest determining factor in your success. So I hope this video is helpful, and I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer on validation or, say, well, Kim, how can I quit my job and go buy a business if I don't know exactly how much money I can make? Well, you quit your job to go own a business for the control over learning and mastering how to be a successful business owner that you get to own and control, to be on the employer side, not on the employee side where somebody else is controlling you and how much money you can make. That's what you're saying yes to. You're saying yes to this, the freedom. And in that, over time, there will come control. But you're not saying yes to control from day one. For more information on this topic, I would absolutely love to have a conversation with you if this is baffling to you or still not clear to you. Please leave a comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more good tips and information from the Daly Coach. And absolutely, if you're looking for more information on this topic, feel free to reach out directly to me. Thank you so much. Until next time, I am the Daly Coach, Kim Daly.